A train is filled with many passengers, including Peter. He gives up his seat to a woman. Suddenly, Peter notices a man wearing a large hoodie. The man leaves a bag on the train and exits. Suspicious, Peter opens the bag and discovers a time bomb inside. Acting quickly, he pulls the train's emergency chain, bringing it to a halt. He helps evacuate the passengers, but some remain inside when the bomb explodes. Later, a police officer informs Peter that his quick thinking saved many lives and only one person was lost. As Peter looks around the crowd, he spots the same hooded man, the bomber. He starts chasing him, but the bomber runs away. A struggle ensues between them, but Peter, exhausted, is unable to fight properly, and the bomber escapes. Determined, Peter resumes the chase, but before he can catch up, a car hits him, allowing the bomber to get away. A year later, Peter arrives at the White House, where he meets Diane. She shows him a video in which a reporter falsely accuses him of orchestrating the train bombing and calls him a traitor like his father. Enraged, Peter listens, but Diane advises him to stay away from the media as they are trying to provoke him. Peter then takes a file and heads to the basement of the same building, where his shift begins. His duty is to assist the night agents by handling emergency calls. Meanwhile, Rose is having dinner with her Uncle Henry and Aunt Emma. During the meal, she reveals that the board has removed her from the CEO position, and now she must declare bankruptcy. Later that night, while Rose is asleep, she hears noises downstairs. She gets up to investigate and is shocked to see Emma holding a gun. Before Rose can react, Henry hands her a piece of paper with a number and a code. He urgently instructs her to leave through the back exit, go to the given address and call the number, saying the phrase "night action" along with the code. Rose runs away as Henry and Emma take their positions with weapons in hand. Soon, two intruders break in and kill Henry and Emma. One of them, unmasked, steps outside, and Rose sees his face. He too notices her. Terrified, Rose flees into the forest, running for her life. Rose reaches a house where she quickly finds a phone and dials the given number. The call connects directly to Peter's office. Peter asks for the code, and when Rose provides the correct one, he asks for her location and immediately sends the police. Meanwhile, Rose looks out the window and sees the same killer standing outside with a gun. Panicked, she informs Peter. He instructs her to go near the bathroom door, lock it from the outside but not enter, and then hide inside a wardrobe in another room. As Rose hides, she watches the man break into the house. He checks the bathroom, banging on the door before forcing it open. Then he enters the room where Rose is hiding. After a few tense moments, Rose notices a flashlight beam. The door opens, and she breathes a sigh of relief as she sees a police officer. Elsewhere, Diane Farr calls Peter, and he updates her on the situation. Diane orders him to keep Rose with him, but warns him not to disclose her location to anyone, not even her. After the rescue, Jamie Hawkins questions Rose. Just then, Peter arrives and informs Hawkins that Diane has ordered him to take Rose with him. They leave together and head to Peter's apartment. At the apartment, Peter tells Rose to grab some clothes. He takes her phone, locks it in a secure safe, and places a small hidden camera inside the safe to monitor any activity. As they exit the apartment and walk toward the car, two men approach Peter. Peter fights them off and demands to know why they were following him. The men claim they mistook Peter for the bomber. He takes their IDs and orders them to stay put until an officer arrives. Peter then calls Diane and updates her on the situation, requesting an investigative team to be sent. He and Rose then get into the car and drive away. As Peter checks the rearview mirror, he notices they are being followed. Rose recognizes the pursuers as the same people who killed her uncle and aunt. Suddenly, the attackers open fire, but Peter manages to evade them, keeping both himself and Rose safe. They arrive at a secure hideout registered under Peter's friend's name. After some time, Peter checks the live feed from the hidden camera in his apartment's safe. To his shock, he sees two masked figures inside. Peter immediately calls the authorities and asks them to be sent to his apartment. However, by the time they arrive, the intruders have already escaped. Peter carefully replays the video and notices a ring on one of the attackers' fingers. He takes a screenshot of it. The next day, Peter and Rose go to meet Diane Farr and Jamie Hawkins. Diane tells Peter to leave, but Rose insists, "Peter stays with me." Before heading inside for questioning, Rose tells Peter, "I won't tell them what I know because that night I overheard my uncle and aunt talking. They said there's a traitor inside the White House." She then enters the room while Peter waits outside. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, a woman is at home when two men arrive with a small child. They ask if they can see the house from the inside. The woman lets them in, but after a brief conversation, the men suddenly kill her. They then take a bag from the house and leave, abandoning the child behind. This marks the end of the first episode. Thank you for watching, friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for the next episode. Like the video and leave a comment telling us which series or movie you'd like us to explain next. Your suggestions are very important to us, so be sure to share your thoughts.